Hello everyone, and welcome back to our series on the epic tale of Antony and Cleopatra. In our last episode, we saw their love story blossom against the backdrop of a divided Roman world. But as their bond deepened, the political ground beneath them began to shift, and the first cracks in the fragile peace started to show. Today, we're diving into how Rome, once Antony's home and power base, began to turn against him, setting the stage for one of history's most famous conflicts. It all started not on the battlefield, but in the court of public opinion. Back in Rome, a young, ambitious, and incredibly shrewd politician was watching Antony's every move. This was Gaius Octavius, better known to history as Octavian, Caesar's adopted son and heir. While Antony was living a life of perceived luxury and passion in Alexandria, Octavian was in Rome, masterfully consolidating his power and, more importantly, crafting a narrative. He was a political genius, and he knew that to defeat Antony, he first had to destroy his reputation. Octavian began a relentless propaganda campaign, one of the most effective in ancient history. He portrayed Antony not as a fellow Roman triumvir, but as a man who had lost his way. He painted a picture of a once great general bewitched and enslaved by a foreign queen, a man who had abandoned his Roman duties, his Roman wife who happened to be Octavian's own sister, Octavia, and his Roman identity. Every dispatch from the east was twisted and presented in the worst possible light. Antony's lavish lifestyle with Cleopatra was depicted as decadent and un-Roman. His adoption of Eastern customs was presented as a betrayal of his heritage. This constant stream of negative press began to take its toll. The people of Rome, and crucially, the Senate, started to question Antony's loyalty. Was he still one of them? Or had he become a puppet of the Egyptian queen? The story of Antony lavishing Roman-conquered territories on Cleopatra and her children, the so-called donations of Alexandria, was a major turning point. Octavian seized on this, presenting it as an outrageous act of treason. He claimed Antony was giving away parts of the Roman Republic to a foreign dynasty. It didn't matter what Antony's actual intentions were in the minds of the Roman people. He was carving up their empire for his lover. At the heart of this propaganda war was Cleopatra herself. Octavian skillfully transformed her from a foreign-allied ruler into the ultimate villain, a symbol of everything Rome feared. She was portrayed as a dangerous, seductive sorceress, a debauched queen with an insatiable appetite for power and Roman men. She wasn't just a threat. She was an existential menace. Who wanted to move the capital of the Roman world from the Tiber to the Nile? To rule over them from Alexandria? The Romans had a deep-seated suspicion of powerful monarchs, and an even deeper mistrust of powerful women, especially foreign ones. Cleopatra was the perfect bogeyman. She became the face of the enemy, making it easier for Romans to direct their anger and fear towards her, by extension towards Antony, the man who had fallen under her spell. This carefully orchestrated campaign created a massive ideological rift. The world was now split not just geographically, but culturally. On one side was the West, represented by Octavian, championing traditional Roman virtues, duty, discipline, simplicity, and piety. On the other was the East, represented by Antony and Cleopatra, painted as a world of luxury, excess, moral decay, and despotic monarchy. It was a clash of civilizations, or at least, that's how Octavian framed it. The tension was no longer just a political squabble between two powerful men. It had become a cultural crusade, a fight for the very soul of Rome. For Antony and Cleopatra, this rising tide of hostility in Rome must have felt like a storm gathering on the horizon. They were trying to build a new center of power in the East, a Hellenistic empire that could coexist with Rome. They saw themselves as divine rulers, a new Isis and Osiris, creating a dynasty that would last for generations. But their dream was being systematically dismantled by Octavian's words. The love that had brought them together and given them a shared vision for the future was now the very thing being used to tear them apart in the eyes of the world. Every decision they made, every public appearance, was now scrutinized and weaponized against them. The shadow of war grew longer and darker with each passing day. In Rome, the sentiment was shifting from suspicion to outright hostility. Octavian's propaganda had been so successful that war no longer seemed just possible, but necessary. It was framed as a defensive war, a war to save Rome from the corrupting influence of the East and its bewitching queen. The final pieces were being moved into place for a confrontation that would decide the fate of the Roman world. The personal rivalry between Octavian and Antony had escalated into a global crisis, and their love story, once a source of strength, was now at the epicenter of the looming conflict. The stage was set for the final, tragic act. War was inevitable. Thank you so much for watching. The story is reaching its dramatic climax, and in our next episode, we'll witness the final break, the declaration of war, and the legendary naval battle that would change the course of history forever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. We'll see you next time.